Hey, hi, hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome. Hope all of you are able to see my screen and hope all of you can hear me. Can I have a quick confirmation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. So this is going to be our Adams class from today onwards, right? So what we are going to discuss today. So we are going to start discussing about Adams today, right? So Adam is all about maybe how can I start with? Okay. First of all, there are two things you need to remember. First thing first, how frequently every one of us or most of us will get a chance to work on Adams. That is where we should be good with. First, how frequently you are going to get this particular one. The answer to that particular one will be, right? Uh, Generally, anyone who start any of the clinical trial, if you look at this, first it is going to be SDTM. That is, I'm going to have all my raw data sets. The raw data systematically I need to distribute and I need to load the respective SDTM compliant data sets. Correct? That is what all your SDTM is. Indirectly, you can say that SDTM is the one which will help us with data management, and mostly it is going to be mapping the data. Is that correct? It's all about mapping the data. All of you accept this? First thing first, let's go one by one. Slowly we will pitch it. Correct? All of you accept this, right? Next. So once you understand this particular one, once you distribute your data across all the domains, what's next? Because I have only the data, nothing else I have done. So all I did is someone has shared the data with me. All the data as per SDTM compliant, I stored somewhere. I distributed the data and loaded them into the multiple domains. That is the only thing I have done so far. Nothing else. Correct? But will I do anything based on this? Or will it be useful? Just I store the data as is, nothing else I have done. So how this will be useful for me? Until and unless, right, I do some analysis, until and unless I did something to make it meaningful. Is that correct? Until and unless I make up something, or until and unless I use this distributed data for something, then only it will make useful, or then only it will make sense, right? So that part will be taken care yet. That part will be taken care in your Adams. The name itself is telling you analysis data model. Okay, you have your data readily with me. I'm going to use this particular data and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to prepare some meaningful reports. I'm going to do some meaningful analysis. That is what Adam will do, right? The reason why Adams required is initially only SDTM was there, but later on, Adam has come. Later on, again, you are going to have the TLF. All this has come to the picture. The first thing you need to understand here is why Adams required, right? What are going to be the sum of the features of Adam that we are going to discuss? Then we can go ahead with the theoretical part again. The first thing is going to be in SDTM, there is always a scope for the ambiguity. There is always a scope for ambiguity. Why? Anyone? Why ambiguity come to the picture when it comes to SDTM? Because it is clear only, right? We have defined everything as per the standards only, right? But still, why you are going to have ambiguity here? Anyone? Even someone who have attended the session already, you guys are also welcome to answer this. Anyone? Why should I have ambiguity? Or why should I get ambiguity in SDTM? Anyone? Okay, let me go. See, SDTM, there is always scope for the improvement. Even, the what to say, CDISC is always improving. That is the reason you can see there is going to be version 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. In every version, there will be more domains coming. I mean to say, why? What do you mean by more domain? Is it something we are adding something new? One is we are adding something new to accommodate newer kinds of data. At the same time, we are trying to split the existing data sets also to make sure that we are going to have a better clarity. One of the examples is going to be, initially, we have AE and CE together. These two are not two different domains initially, right? Both clinical events as well as adverse events are part of your events only, adverse events only. But to have a clarity, what exactly is going to be adverse based on the seriousness or based on the other parameters, it is better to have two different domains. Anything is of adverse will go here. Other than adverse, still it is going to have some effect that is going to come under your clinical events. That type of split is happening from one version to another version. Since we know the difference between these two, I picked this particular example for our reference. Right? One is domain-wise improvement. Number two, for an example, let's say that you have race in the DM domain. What are all the races that we are taking for now? White, let's say black, let's say Asian. How about others? We are going to add one more thing, we can call it as others, correct? What do you mean by others? Who are these others and all? What race they belongs to? Because my standard is taking that, okay, these are the four, right? Yeah, I'm just giving you the example. What do you mean by others? You're defining others. What do you mean by others? The same will go to ethnic also, right? You're giving some ethnic details, right? We have only two, right? What about others then? Which ethnic they belongs to? Those details will be false under your Adam. In the Adam, we are going to define them. Because we just mentioned others. What is it by others? No clarity for me, right? So that other, wherever you say other, do's and all we are going to discuss in your Adams. Those we are going to define in the Adams, right? We still go back to the source data set. That is nothing but your SDTM. From there, you are going to check, hey, there is some ambiguity here. I want to overcome that particular ambiguity. I want to make sure that there is going to be a clear communication, right? That clear communication is nothing but this. And here again, you can see in the SDTM, we have only stored the data. We haven't prepared any analysis data sets there. No analysis was done, right? So prepare analysis data and always link or always provide how you brought this analysis data. So there are two things that I'm going to do here. Number one, since you are going to have the scope of ambiguity here in the SDTM, I want to overcome that. To overcome that, I'm going to the Adam. In the Adam, what I'm going to do is, the first thing is, I'm going to make sure there is going to be a clear communication and there is no scope for ambiguity. Is that clear, everyone? The first point, why we are doing it, why we need Adams, right? There is a scope for ambiguity in the SDTM, and I want to overcome that particular one in your Adams. That is the first thing. I want to clear that there is no ambiguity at all. Number two, whatever the data that we have in the SDTM, you call that as a source data. What is that? SDTM is going to be source data. Because this is the source, this is the standard. You can ask me, Murli, source must be raw, right? Raw should be the source data, right? Of course, yes. But raw, you cannot use it as it is. To use this properly, I have defined the rules, how the data should be, how the format should be, how much is going to be the length, what is going to be the data type. Everything I have defined in the SDTM, and I ensure that the raw data itself is systematically converted here. I still call this as a raw data, but in a standard format. So we call that as source data. But I want to do some analysis. So to do analysis, I'm going to change this particular data as per my analysis needs. Those data we can call it as analysis data. So there are two data now. What is going to be the one is going to be the source data. The another one is going to be the analysis data. If someone asks you, hey, there is going to be a treatment flag. So I'm going to create multiple flags here. Let's say treatment flag. How this flag has come? From where you defined it. At any point of time, I want to trace that to the source. I should be able to trace that. That factor will be called it as traceability. I mean to say, this is your analysis data. This is your source data. What is the relationship between them? Right? That relationship between these two data sets, I should create it. That will be called it as traceability. So as part of the ADAM, I always work on traceability. That is from where I am getting the data. But what traceability it is? Traceability between analysis and source data. Still, I'll discuss this one more time. I also give the notes about all. Don't worry. I'm just explaining what is the objective of having ADAMs. Is this clear to everyone? First of all, there is an ambiguity I want to overcome. Make sure there's going to be a clear communication. There are going to be source data set, analysis data set. I want to have a proper relationship between them so that at any point of time I can easily trace them back. That is nothing but my traceability. Number 3. Always have your metadata. Be metadata ready. What do you mean by metadata? Anyone? What do you mean by metadata?
Data about the subject.
Not just the subject. It can be data about data. Am I correct? Metadata is all about, it's a data about data. I mean to say, let's take a simple data set, any data set for the matter of fact. Let's say this is my DM data set. All this is going to be my data portion, right? This is my original data, right? Now, if I go to the properties, I can see the columns. Whatever you can see, the table, my variable specific information. I mean to say, what is this name of the variable? What is going to be the type of the data, type of this particular variable? What is the maximum allowable length with which we have defined it? What is the format? What is the informat? What is going to be the definition? Overall, when I have created this, when I have changed this, every piece of information about the data, because I'm not looking at, hey, the information is that, let's say race is equal to Asian. I'm not dealing about it. I'm dealing about if the variable is race, is it a character or numeric? What is the length of it? What is the format that I have applied, right? And when I have created this variable, what is going to be the position of this particular variable in my data set? Position number. All these are nothing but my metadata, right? If someone want to load the data, you should have metadata first. When you give the metadata by looking at it, oh, here you are dealing age as a number. I'll load it as number only. Look at the DMDPC. This is your data of demographic collection. Ideally, it's supposed to be a numerical variable. It should be in some date format, but you have loaded this as a character. So when I want to load the data, I'm supposed to load this as a character only. That is nothing but preparing a mock shell. If I want to prepare that particular skeleton, you need metadata. In technical words, if I want to talk about your what to say in SQL terms, in SQL, first you are going to create a table, right? So while creating a table, what you are going to do, you are going to clearly define each variable. Create table, table name as. So here each variable you are going to define. Let's say that my first variable is going to be subject. Is it a varchar or not? Is it a character? Let's say character. The length is equal to 28, or I want to go with a length of 30. I want to put any other details. I'm going to put it here. What is going to be the format? What is going to be the line? Everything I'm going to put it here. Then only after creating the table, I'm going to write one more command. There I'll say that insert into, and then I'm going to insert it. Is that correct or not? If you want to define your SQL metadata, this is how you should do it. First, define your data. As per your data, insert your data intervals. Clear? That is nothing but metadata. So be metadata ready. Number 4, last one, be analysis ready. What do you mean by this? At any point of time, any kind of analysis you want to do, I have my data is ready. Right? My data is pretty much available. What kind of analysis you want to do it? Just take it and use it. That's it. Right? So there are 3 things that you need to understand. These are the 4 things you need to keep it in mind whenever you want to go with Adams. Is this clear? Why Adams are required? Every one of you. The objective of Adams. Questions. I'm open for questions. All right. Like SDTM, like you have SDTM implementation guide, right? So latest version is going to be 3.4. We are working on both 3.2 and 3.3. That is what we are doing in the class. Now the question is, do you have any guide for Adams also? Yes. You are going to have something called Adam implementation guide. So the current version is something like version 1.4, which is happening, 1.3, I believe. So I have 1.1 and 1.1, 1.3, all the 3 are with me. Most of the times we will go with version 1.1. But one difference you guys need to understand is how we are proceeding with SDTM. That is, we take one variable, let's say DM domain. DM domain has 29 variables. We know all the 29 variables, correct? And we understand that as per SDTM, these 29 variables must be there. There is some exclusion based on the code. So we have required, we have expected, and we have permissible, no doubt about it. As long as required and expected must be part of your data set. Here, there is no missing values allowed. Here, missing values are allowed. When it comes to the permissible, may or may not require, but it completely depends on your sponsor and your CRF. If your CRF has the data, you're going to have these variables. If your CRF doesn't have the data, then these variables can be skipped. But at least we know that there are 29 variables. All these 29 variables are going to be common for every study. Correct? When it comes to Adam, the same story will not be there, not at all. Because Adam is vast. Adam is, I can say that, it will not have boundaries. It purely depends on individual study, right? I'll say that in my study, I want to go with 100 flags, totally 100 variables I want to have it in ADSL. ADSL is nothing but again your parent domain, just like DM. I'll go through that, don't worry. I'll go through that. All right. But when it comes to the other one, let's say the same ADSL data set, when I want to create as per my study, I'm going with 100 variables because these 100 variables are going to be my derived variables along with the regular variables, and these are required for my analysis. The same ADSL, let's say for the different team, maybe let's say that one of you are working on the ADSL. In your study, you're going with 140. There is one more time, let's say that there is one more student, he actually going with, as per study, only 90 variables are sufficient. There is no standard. Not the standard is not the right word. There is no fixed number of variables that we need to discuss. Whatever the analysis I am doing in my study is specific to my study only. It doesn't mean that you are going to have the same analysis at your end. Correct? So there is always, these variable numbers, these variable values, always shaky. I can say that there is always shaky. They will not be having the fixed values. But just like your SDTM, here also you are going to have some of the core. You can call them as required, just like the previous, conditional. There is no expected. You are going to have conditional, and then you are going to have the third one, which is again is going to be permissible. Right? So require as is you are going to have it. Must be included in the data set. Right? When it comes to the permissible, purely depends on your sponsor. When it comes to the conditional variable, it must be included in the data sets in certain circumstances. Those certain circumstances will change from study to study. Is that understandable to everyone? This is what I want to bring it here. Can I have a quick confirmation? Right? There is no fixed things. There are going to be a core. Core is going to be required, conditional, permissible. Permissible based on the sponsor. Required, mandatory. Conditional is only based on the certain conditions, certain circumstances. Those circumstances are not going to be standard for every study. The circumstances will differ from my study to your study. Is that clear? Everyone, can I have is Armin?
Yes, sir.
All right. The other thing that you need to understand here is even the approach that we want to follow. So there we start with one of the domain. We go with all the variable definitions. After all the variable definitions, then we'll start again with the take one of the raw data set from our project. Then we can start doing the conversion. But when it comes to the Adam, I don't follow the same method. The reason for that is, I'll just show you one of the examples. So this is Adam 1.3 latest. All right. So hardly again here, guys, you don't have too many things to discuss. I have ADSL, ADEG, ADLB, ADBS, ADDA. Again, ADAE, ADCM, ADMH. Done. 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 1, 8. Totally 8. Hardly we have 8. But the problem is, each one of them, if I talk about each one of them, I can go ahead. Just ensure that definitions. Then scroll down a little. I just go with ADSL first. Yes, here is what the ADSL is. Okay, so here, still not here, we are not there yet. Standard variables, conversions, ADSL variables. See this? First, as usual, identifier variables. These are standard. Then you can see demographics variable. Then you can see population indicator variables. Then treatment related variables. A lot many here. Then dosage related variables. Then treatment timing variables. Like this, you can see it's keep on coming. It is not ended yet. Then you can see subject level, period, subperiod, and phase timing variables. And again, you can see ADSL subject level trial experience variables, right? ADSL stratification variables. These many are there. Close to more than 100 variables will be there. More than 100, I can say, right? Discussing all of them will go for ages. Go for ages. So what we do is, out of all this, what are important and what are specific to our study, we will discuss first. That is, it will purely based on your study. So we have raw data sets, right? And we also already have completed ADSL for this particular one, right? Mean to say that we collected the data, right? So what is required for our study? In that perspective, we will go. Is that clear? Second thing, I'm just setting up what we want to try. Adam, discussing all the variables just like how we have done for the SDTM, not at all possible. So what we do, in every domain, we will go with, let's say I have ADSL. What is ADSL? What and all will be part of it. Then, what SDTM domains are going to contribute to your ADSL? Then, what are going to be my required and identification variables there, identifier variables there, followed by what and all variables which are required for us. We complete those theoretical part. Then we quickly start with the coding. While going with the coding, we can have a detailed discussions again. All right. Is that clear? What is going to be the approach that we are going to follow? You might be finished, Murli, why we are not doing the same approach just like SDTM? Because this is the reason. Not every variable you are going to remember, not every variable is going to be same for all the studies. That is the second thing that I would like to mention before we start with our classes. Clear? Can I have a confirmation?
Yes, sir.
All right, done. That is the second thing. I hope all of you are clear why I'm doing this. Right? Okay, the next thing. Third and most important thing that I want to tell to you, parallelly, before when I start with ADSL, the moment I started with the ADSL, I understand that we have done only few of them so far. That is, we done the code conversions for DM, AE, LP, and exposure. Only these four we have done. But the remaining we haven't done. But our, our class, or I can say that our project, if I want to complete all the ADSL variables, right, which are part of my study, it demands that it requires DS data, it requires VS data, it required other domain data. Without that, I couldn't complete it. So we started doing all the code conversions, right? So now I'm requesting you, whatever the code conversions we have done so far, well and good. The other code conversions also, you can start doing from your end parallelly. Remember, I request every one of you, don't concentrate and don't spend too much of time on your atoms. Out of 10 programmers, right, at a normal, I can say that fresher to mid-range experienced developers or experienced clinical SAS programmers, out of 10, only one might get a chance to go ahead and do the code conversions for ADSL or ADAM. Very rare, right? It is one of the area which will be mostly done by the senior programmers who have a very good understanding about all the domains in your clinical trials. In general, it is across, irrespective of whatever the company it is, might be, it is general. But it is always good to know everything. Right? Let's say when you're starting with your, CDISC, you must have a good idea about all the SDTM, ADAM, and TLF. SDTM and TLF, you get an opportunity to work more frequently. But when it comes to ADAM, it is one of the rare opportunities. It is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So I request all of you not to spend too much of time on it. Understand what is what, do the code conversion. I have two projects with me. One project that we do in the class, we do all the conversions there. Even for the second project, you do the code conversion. Make sure you're comfortable with that. Anytime, if you get an opportunity, be ready to grab it, right? But remembering all the ADSL or, ADAE, ADLB, all this ADMH, don't try to remember or don't, spend too much time on that particular one. That is what I would like to say. Even when it comes to the interviewer part, not every one of you are, pretty familiar with this particular ADAM, not much, right? But it is not to defame anyone, but on a general note, I can simply say that everyone is pretty much familiar with SDTM TLF. Most of the questions also will be faced right there. So be prepared for that particular one. The rest is up to you. I don't stop you. Say that, hey, don't go with ADA. I'm not saying. But when it comes to the preferences, your first preference should be for SDTM. You should be damn good with this particular one. Everything. And have a good understanding about the tables listing figures. As long as you're a good SAS programmer, you can do it, irrespective of whether you have the domain knowledge or not. Then you give your third preference. Yeah. Clear? Basic set. Can we go with the regular notes now and we can start understanding about ADSL? We complete the base setup today. From tomorrow onwards, we can start going ahead with the ADSL. First domain. Clear, guys? Any questions from anyone? Okay. let's start. Anyone want to contribute anything? Anyone want to ask anything? Please ask me. And I'm just going with this again one more time. So just want to have a clarity on where we are on this. Irrespective of, I think I can also remove this. Just wanted to make sure where we are. All right. Across both of your batches, 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Demographics, we have, I think, theory-wise, we have done everything, right? Except the trial domains for both of your batches. All the domains were discussed, no doubt about it. Now, when it comes to the DM, code conversion is also completed. Right? Then CO I haven't do. Subject elements I have explained in the class. Subject visit I have explained in the class. AE we have already done. Disposition we have already done. Exposure we have done. Laboratory we have done. Vital signs we have done. That's it. Am I correct? Anything else? These are the ones, right? So we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 code conversions so far. Am I correct, guys? Anything else apart from this? Medical history also be done, right? No? I'm not sure.
Sir, you asked us to do, and we
Okay.
submitted the code.
Okay. Okay. So now, how about reminding guys when you completed? Because out of mostly I can say 15 or 16 domains, I have already completed the code conversion in the class for 8. Right? Remaining are all small. Commands will not take hardly more than 2 hours. It is a matter
Sir,
of 2 hours.
comments and MH we already submitted to you. You told you will check and you will.
I don't know how many of you submitted. I'll go through that. Okay. I need to check. This is from my side. Review pending. Okay. Then, what is the other one? Medical history, right?
Yes.
Review pending. What about others? Exposure as collected doesn't require anyways. It is going to be the same as this. How about others?
Will do, sir.
Okay. Prioritize it because I would need these data sets for me as well. Right? Otherwise, parallelly, I have to start doing at my end. Then only it can be done. Right? I can do parallel conversion. I supposed to do at my end so that all the data sets will be readily available. Because, okay, I'll set you the priority, guys. Just work on those priority. So this one is going to be our next priority. All of you work on drug accountability. I just call it as priority 1. All of you guys, it's supposed to be for all of you. I'm just putting priority, work on them. Clinical events is going to be a priority 1. Concomitant medication is going to be priority 1. That is, if you want to start these 3, you start. Right?
Hello.
And yes.
Sir, I think in drug accountability, I think the visit, I think there is I couldn't understand little bit. I tried doing it. I don't remember what the question was exactly now, but in the Excel sheet, if you have time and you can open it, just.
No. We do that later, Nilima. Otherwise, we will go in the random problem. Right? So we do one thing. So this week, we continue to go with our Adam classes. This week, whole week. That is tomorrow, followed by upcoming week. We will go with this. Sorry, Nilima, can you be on mute? While you unmute, you can just use.
I'm trying to mute my phone, but I'm not able to. Just a second. I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm doing it at my end. I did it. Okay. So I'm just telling to you, this week, we continue to go with Adam. Otherwise, it is not end because last month we started with Adam, right? But all of a sudden, I required some data sets, that is your DS and all. But none of you have completed it and you have questions over there. So again, we started doing the code conversion. This entire month, we just, use only for the code conversions, right? But that's fine. It is going to be helpful for you. I don't deny that. But still, again, it is going to be a time-taking process. What I do is, this week and upcoming week, you continue with the code conversion from your end. Let's say you have a drug accountability issue. Skip it. Go with the remaining one. Then my second priority is going to be protocol deviation and your ECG, not even ECG, physical examination. Go with these two as a second priority. Then the third priority must be your substance use, because these are simple again. ECG, death details, inclusion exclusion, completed. Right? Even someone who haven't completed the medical history and all, for you, it is going to be your priority two. This is how you can go ahead. Right? This is how you proceed with. Consider that as these two are priority one, priority two, priority. This week and upcoming week, whenever you find time, you continue with it. This weekend, I don't take class because I'm just going my native, so I couldn't get a chance to take the classes. So on 22nd and 23rd and 24th, or 22nd and 23rd, weekends, we take it completely for code conversions. Any doubts or anything, for an example, upcoming weekend, not this one, upcoming weekend, we can go ahead and we'll see in the priority one what is completed and what is pending. We can simply take the code. Meanwhile, I'll also finish the coding from my end. Quickly, we can compare our codes and make sure that 2 to 3 hours of the class, just like SVP we go with, and those 6 hours of the class over the 2 days, we are going to utilize for code conversions. This way, we can increase our velocity to complete the classes. At the same time, it won't disturb me. It won't disturb the regular flow. Is that understandable to everyone? Yes or no? Is that okay, guys?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So it's just starting. The first priority will be go with the clinical events. Then you can also require the data about your concomitant medication and drug accountability. Just do these 3 for this entire week. Possible, go ahead with the comments, which are simple, complete it, make sure everything is as per this SDTM standards, and then submit the code with me, and I can prepare it. Okay, so let's go back to our Adam again, right? So quickly go with the introduction. So for this, what I'm doing is I have already drafted some code some time back. No need, we'll go with anyone. Very same code I'm going to use. I'll just, put it in a, I think I have already did this. So this is ADSL class nodes, not ADSL. Introduction. So I'll just go with this introduction. Whatever I have done so far, the same thing all I have just put it here. So as a quick reference, you can take it. All we are going to have here is what is ADAMS? You can see Adam describes how to build analysis data sets and associated metadata. If I come back to this, our notes, sometime back I have mentioned that the purpose of ADAMS is going to be first, remove your ambiguity. Then we talked about it is going to prepare metadata, be metadata ready. Then we also discussed about be analysis ready. Then we also talked about make sure you are going to have traceability. Am I correct? These 4, right? Again, I'm going to talk about them here. Adam describes how to build analysis data sets and associated metadata. From the source data set, we are going to prepare the analysis data sets and we associate what is going to be the respective metadata. Okay, how it will be useful? See, whatever the data that you are preparing, still it is going to be in a big table, huge table. Suppose if you are sharing this particular information to someone, instead of saying that, hey, I'm going to have 10,000 rows of the data where I'm going to have the, both the gender M and F, and I have the respective details. Instead of that, why can't I prepare a simple graph? And in that particular graph, I'm going to say that, hey guys, you're going to have these details. That is nothing but out of all this, out of all my data, I have a gender M and I have a gender F. I'm going to give out of gender M, I have 4,000 people, and gender F, I have 6,000 people. And then the efficacy percentage of this is going to be, let's say that this drug is working wonderfully for male. Let's say that I have an efficacy percentage of 98% here. Whereas come to this, I have around 86%. Instead of giving a huge table, if I put a simple table or a listing, or I put it in a proper graph, a bar chart, or a pie chart, and if I give to them, will that be easy? Correct? Right? So if I want to do that particular one, I need the analysis data. Now you can see this in turn allows the developer to generate TLFS more easily and ensure traceability. That is, I can generate the tables, listings, and figures based on your Adam data, and I'll ensure that it will be easy for the developer, right? That is, reviewers can review and approve the submission quickly. Why? Instead of looking at a 10,000 row data set, looking at your validation report and everything, instead of that, looking at a simple table or a figure or a listing is more easy and convenient. Any issues, when I click on that particular one, I'm going to get that traceability from where the data is coming. I look at only that particular data. Easy or not? Right? Instead of looking at whole data, look at your table or listing or figure. Wherever you have some questions or wherever you want to validate the data, only that data you can filter out from your tables, listings, and figure and continue with your analysis. It is going to give you more, I can say that it will help you to review the process, to review your study quickly. Whatever your submission is there, the submission can be easily reviewed. That is the best part of your Adams. All right. Okay. Now again, you can see Adam is a standard structure which is built from SDTM. That is the reason first we have completed SDTM. Because when I have proper data as per the standard, based on that I can prepare the Adam. Okay. Then the fundamental principles is going to be data traceability, which means all the variables of Adam can be tracked back from corresponding SDTM domain. From there, it can trace back to the eCRF. That is, let's say there is going to be a treatment flag, or there is going to be one safety flag that I have created. Yeah, from where you have derived it? I derived it from SDTM. In SDTM, from which domains you have derived this particular one? I have the domain details. Let's say this is a combination of DM, let's say, as well as your E, based on these two, not E, DM and EX. I'm talking about some drug. So these two together I have used it. Okay. Again, in the DM and EX, what are my original variables? My original variables are going to be available in the raw data set. How you prepare this raw data set? Based on my CRF. Correct? So the complete traceability should be available. What is my Adam variable? What is the respective base variables in SDTM? What are the respective base variables in the CRF? The complete traceability must exist. That is what we are doing. The principles, just now we discussed, facilitates clear communication, no scope for the ambiguity. Provide traceability between the analysis data and source data, SDTM. Be accompanied by metadata ready, be analysis ready. These are the four things that I have discussed first. These are nothing but your ADA principles. Okay. Someone asks you, hey, what is the difference between SDTM and Adams? Common question, right? Right? As simple. Adam always built on top of your SDTM and they closely talk with each other. They always closely correlate with each other. Adam is the source for, SDTM is the source for Adam. Adam is for analysis, right? SDTM is for mapping. Simple words, maybe you can read it here also, but in a simple words, if I want to say that, SDTM is all about mapping data, right? Adam is all about prepare data for analysis, right? Then Adams is going to be built on top of Adam is going to be built based on SDTM data. As simple as that. Someone asks you what is going to be the difference. Both of them are going to have almost similar data, but is going to use it for the different functionality. That is the first thing. Number two, We can also say that it can be used for the purpose of preparing the analysis data set. I'm going to use Adam I'm going to prepare Adam based on SDTM data. So still SDTM will be my source data. Clear? Right. Then we talk
Sir,
about the case.
do we
Sorry.
build TLFS based on SDTM or Adam, sir?
No, Adams. Only after Adam data sets ready, that we can use it for the TLFs. That's the reason I mentioned this also here. You can see. Adam describes how to build analysis datasets and associated metadata because you have analysis dataset with you, which will be used for preparing your TLFs. Remember, guys, TLFs is going to have the simple data. TLF, any SAS programmer with a proper SAS knowledge can do TLF without having any domain knowledge and all. So most of the people while going with the classes also, they will start with TLF so that it will make you to feel comfortable. But that's the wrong approach. The flow is going to be raw data, convert into the standard data, SDTM. We have standard SDTM data, but it is only standard data. It is not analysis data. Build analysis data sets. Use your analysis data sets for reporting purpose. Even if you go to ETL, guys, regular ETL, extract, transform, and load. Extract is nothing but you are preparing all the data from your input data set. You transform the data set as you require. Then you have two options. Either you can load the data, or whatever you are transformed the data is there, on top of this transformed data, you can do your analysis. Once you complete the analysis, you can generate your reports. Those reports can be regular Excel, CSV reports, or these can be your figures, that is graphs. Even in the regular SAS, even in the other domains, if you go to banking or healthcare, there also it is going to be the same. When it comes to us, this extract is nothing but SDTM, transform is nothing but ADAM, and reports is nothing but your TLM. In either the cases, it is going to be the same. Clear now? Any
Yes,
questions? Perfect. Now, one thing we need to define is going to be the traceability. I already told you what is called your traceability. Traceability is all about what is the relationship between your analysis results and analysis data sets and your domains. That is, you have your figure. Let's say you have your listing. How you got this listing based on Adam data? How you got this data based on your SDTM? How you got this based on your raw data? Correct? If you are able to define this relation between each of this, that is nothing but traceability. I can trace it backwards. I can trace it to my source, and I can understand how I can define this. That is nothing but your traceability. You can see. Reviewer can trace how the primary and secondary efficacy values are derived from SDTM data for each subset. Because in SDTM, we have not calculated anything. We stored the data. I need to calculate that particular now. I calculated it. How I calculated? What are variables I have considered? How the safety is measuring? How the efficacy is measuring? Those will be part of your Adam, which in turn requires your traceability. Right? Okay. Roles. Role is nothing but there also we have the role, right? What are the roles you are going to have there? A different set of values are going to be there, but no worries. When it comes to the Adam's data set, whatever the variables which are coming from SDTM, I'm going to use the same name. SDTM name as it is, we are going to use it. Means all the properties, everything. Apart anything which are not coming from a source, right? Any new variables I'm creating, for that we will go with the new attributes. But if the data is coming from SDTM, we are going to use them as is. I already told you there are three codes: required, permissible, conditional. Required is same as your SDTM. Permissible is same as your SDTM. Conditional is nothing but based on the certain circumstances, I'm going to prepare these values, and these certain circumstances will be differ from one to another, one study to another study. Only the basics I have covered, guys. Tomorrow I'm going to start with Adam's standard structures. That is nothing but what are the different structures you have here, like how we have the categories of special purpose domain, your events, findings, exposure, like that. Here we have only 3 categories, right? We have subject level analysis data sets, basic data structures, occurrence data structures. Only 3 of them are there. So under each of this, what and all the various data sets we have and how we can proceed. So tomorrow, first 10 minutes will go with us, then immediately we jump into the ATS. Clear? It will be interesting, believe me, very interesting.